Go ahead, put it on real tight. Hope you brought your best tonight. They say they got the fireworks, yeah, they say they got the show. You're around the shoots, you're the best, so let's go.
This is Texas Toast. I'm your host, Miss Helen. Kick back and enjoy as we toast the best from Texas.
Cheers, everyone. Welcome to Texas Toast. I'm Miss Helen and a very special guest that his music is in my wheelhouse. I've been liking everything I've been hearing. And we did a little pre-visit before this, but welcome to the podcast, Dusty Moats. Hello, Dusty. Great to have you.
How you doing, Helen? You doing okay today?
Yes, I'm doing wonderful now that you're here. And I'm looking at your back of your wall with all the beautiful, I'm a big sports girl. I love the sports stuff back there. So you're big into sports.
Yes, ma'am. Sure am. I've been long time, been doing it just like music. It's been a part of my life for a long time.
Yes. Did you play sports?
I did. I played football all the way up through college, and then I've done a little boxing, a little jujitsu, bodybuilding, powerlifting. Now I'm just old.
Hey, but we're older now, but I have never felt better or felt younger and pushed myself more.
Well, it's funny that you say that. I saw Robert Gallagher a couple nights ago, the guy that runs Billy Bob's, and he said, Dusty, I know you're almost 50, but 50 is the new 30. I said, yeah, tell my body that, son. My mind says I can. There you go.
So you're interesting with a lot of your background. So how did you get into music?
Wow.
Where did that come from?
That's a great question. Well, honestly, when I was a kid, my mom was in the house band at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Super cool.
And she played with the likes of majority of the Maines brothers out of Lubbock, like Kenny and Lloyd. Those guys were all in her house band in Vegas. And so I was exposed to it at an early age. As I started growing through school, I played football primarily, but I always stayed in choir. And then, of course, when I signed a scholarship out of high school to play college football, that really took over majority of my interest, I think. And what wound up happening was, while I was doing frat and stuff like that in college, I started picking up the guitar again after doing it for a while. And then I realized that the girls liked it. And so I stuck with it. And then once kind of my football career ran, I came back home to Dallas-Fort Worth and started playing back in 1995. And played cover music. I was in like those kind of dance hall bands. I heard y'all talking about it on a podcast just recently about how people used to just go and dance. And I played like, Crystal Chandelier and Borrowed Money and Cowboys and Billy Bob's and Rodeo Exchange and all those premier dance clubs that were here. In fact, the old Top Rail, which was over on Northwest Highway, was another place that I played. So that's how I got into it. And it's actually been something that I've stuck with for a long period of time.
And I love, because your sound, like I love the water stuff and the reference to water, because I'm a coastal girl. I'm on the coast. I'm on the boat a lot. I fish all the time. As a matter of fact, I have another ladies tournament coming up this weekend. But let's talk about your current single. Well, no, let's back up. Speaking of the dancing song, we specifically covered Holding On when it came out here on Texas on Tap, and that just takes me back. That and a couple of your other songs, you just kind of got that 90s sound, like I can't, like Diamond Rio, Restless Heart kind of groove thing going on.
Sure. That is what I really started playing music professionally to, the likes of McBride and the Bride, Black Hawk, Restless Heart, all had great big vocals. I think you'll see a lot of these guys, even though they're releasing music that kind of has a 90s feel, the vocals kind of take a back seat to the lyrics and the singing, which is great. But if you remember those bands of those times, you mentioned Restless Heart, man, those are 5 and 6 part harmonies recorded, and they were just aces at it. And that always piqued my interest. And of course, with a choral background, I was always in like a performing 4 or 5 person performing group. So I'm used to that. But man, those songs, like you talked about Holding On, that was done with full intention. We, kind of experimented a little bit with the first couple of singles. And when I was talking with Drew and Rosewood and Carrie down in Rosewood, we just said, let's just push all the chips in on my influences. And man, we did it. And it came out exactly like we imagined. And it's always interesting for me. I think, I was getting some traction with the first couple singles, but that song in particular still has a life of its own. It's still being played all over the
Yes.
world. And man, I think a lot of that has to do with the attributes that kind of the 90s country sound, and that includes the vocal piece of it.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of, I will tell you one of my all-time favorite songs to this day, and I have a lot of favorite songs. My friends say, Helen, like all your songs are your favorite songs, but one of my all-time go-tos is Restless Hearts, Wheels.
Oh my gosh.
God, can you just jam to that song like over and over and over? So when you started talking about that, it just took me back to that. And so we're talking about now Laking It Easy. No Bad Days. We actually have a friend that has a boat called No Bad Days. I mean, that song, I fell in love with it being a water girl.
Oh, you're so kind. There's a couple of things tribute to that song that's in there now. Laking It Easy actually came. I've been living out here on Eagle Mountain Lake for a little over 10 or 12 years. And man, I started playing again out here. They have been the biggest supporters of my music career. We just had a single release party out here on the lake. Over 400 people showed up for that deal, and it was a really nice night. They're so amazingly supportive. And, I wrote it with another artist named Brad Russell. I don't know if you're familiar with Brad Russell Band, kind of a guy that's had stuff out, but kind of a honky tonk guy. And we just realized that there were characters here that we could write songs about.
Absolutely.
They kind of told stories of their own, just the way they lived their lives. And so, and it's fun and it's playful, and it could be any one of us on any given day, right?
Oh, sure.
Depends on the mood that we're in. And then there's also another reference. I had a very dear friend of mine. And this is something I don't really talk a lot about, but the phrase "no bad days," a buddy of mine that I've known for 26 years, passed away a few years ago of throat cancer. And he played with Toby Keith, and he was in his band, and his huge moniker, anytime he saw him, if I would complain about anything, was "no bad days." And so
I love it.
We made sure that we put that in there. And so, man, it's really a tribute to just people that I've loved for an extended period of time. And so not only is it fun and playful, it actually is a pretty meaningful song to me as well.
Yes. And speaking of Rosewood, I also noticed that, and I'm very familiar with Rosewood. I get to communicate. I'm blessed to get to communicate with those guys a lot there. Yeah. But you had some good musicians on it with Nate and Bryce and Travis and the gang.
Yeah. And Aiden Bubeck, I think the only position that has changed has been bass. And that's only been just by default. Aiden Bubeck's played on one, Tara Bass played on one, and there's been, it's been a really nice selection. And those guys, man, really create some amazing music. And I think they kind of get me too. I think there's something to be said. I know the first single, I don't know if you can hear it, "Love by You." I can hear I'm uncomfortable a little bit. And I think a lot of it is the first time back in the studio after 15 years. I think another piece is I'm still trying to find my way, but they did a really good job of making me feel at home from that first time. And the more we get to know each other, they kind of have learned the directions that I want to go.
That's exactly how they do. And I had that Drew and Carrie were on the podcast, and we talked about that. I said, any tips for artists coming in that may be intimidated? I mean, to walk into a studio, that's something you're not in and out of every day. So they're the best there. Speaking of Love by You, that video is awesome. Well, I watched the video.
Well, thank you.
And that's my kind of people.
Yeah, well, and honestly, we just started. It's funny that you're talking about the video. We just started shooting a video for Laking It Easy this past weekend.
That was on my questions, if you were going to do a video.
The annual tie-up at Eagle Mountain Lake was Saturday, and we were all up in the middle of that whole event, shooting the video on the lake. And so thank you. I love that. 613 Media did that. They do a lot of stuff for Shane Smith and the Saints and Parker McCollum. And so I've been blessed to really work with some amazing people who, man, while I have a vision, I trust them to come up with something even bigger and better. And they've just really killed it, just like Rosewood,
Yes. And see, that's the great thing about our Texas country music family, as I call it, because everybody supports each other and you network, and where you can't figure something out, somebody's going to pick you up, and they're going to, we just all kind of figure it out together as we go. Sure. We've been doing that for years, and now look at where we are.
Yeah, it's awesome. And we've been, like I said, we're blessed with that kind of community.
For sure. So, are you working on any new stuff?
I am.
Am I allowed to ask?
Yeah, you're allowed to. So I've got a full album that's actually coming out. I was debating on releasing it in October. I'm actually going to wait and let Laking It Easy kind of make its run. I think you've seen this kind of trend with radio singles. They're lasting 20, 25, 36 weeks. I hate it because I was in the studio one day and I was talking to Aaron Watson and he was laughing because he is so much like me. Before I even release it, I'm done with the song. I've heard it so many times. And so my ADD kicks in and I'm like ready to move to the next three other things. But they're just radio's holding on to these things for so many weeks. And so I've kind of made a decision that I'm going to keep pushing Laking It Easy. It'll probably rock on through October. And then I've got a Christmas song coming out called You Jingle My Bells.
Oh, cute.
It's going to be out right at either the end of October or the 1st of November. So I've never really done a Christmas song. I wrote this with Kyle Fambro and a guy named Dan Smalley. I don't know if you've never heard of Dan Smalley or Kyle Fambro. Both of them are amazing artists. Dan is a guy, a Nashville cat that I've had the pleasure of working with on some of the tours that we've done. And man, this is a fun tongue-in-cheek song. It just talks about all I need is the love of a significant other that you're in front of on Christmas. So pretty cool deal. And it's a fun and playful tune, but yeah, that's what I got coming out. And it's looking like it's going to be the end of October, 1st of November.
That's awesome. Well, make sure you send it to us because I know we're going to be staying in touch, but yes. Yeah, and so what about hitting the road, doing some shows? Are you working some in?
Well, so what I've got, I play anywhere from 5 to 7 days a week all the time right now. The last couple weeks I've been a little slower. I've got 3 gigs this week. I've got a Thursday night private party. Saturday night I'm at the White Elephant. Friday night I'm at the White Elephant. Or Friday night I'm at. Oh my gosh, you had to ask me. I get it all confused. Hold on, I got to give you the lowdown.
Well, I know you're such a busy person. I mean, it's like
we do a lot, and I'm like I said, I'm so glad considering what we've dealt with the last couple of years. Friday night, I'm actually off. Holy smokes!
What's up?
Saturday night, I'm at the White Elephant. Sunday, I'm at the Lake House. Monday, I've got a radio show, and then I kind of cruise through. I've got gigs the following Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then on the 6th of September, I take off to Idaho. I've got 3 festivals that I'm working. One is the Copper Alibi Festival in Twin Falls. Another one is the Middle Fork Music Festival in Crouch, Idaho. And then the next weekend, I'm at Crooked 8 Music Fest in Kuna, Idaho. Oh. And so we've done, it's been so cool. I am fortunate enough that I've done Highway 30 the last couple of years. As a more of a, we've been contracted in. We've done the Hangover Tent, which we would play in the mornings when people would wake up and they cook breakfast. I saw you featured Cleet Bradley. I tour a lot with him. That tour, the stuff that I got going in September is with Cleet. But we did that last year. This year I came in, I did every sponsor party that they had, plus Whiskey Riff playlist parties. And then I did the VIP sponsor night. And then I would stay and hang at the festival during the day and leave and go play venues at night. So I wound up working 7 or 8 days that week. And then I wound up taking an excursion up into Montana.
Oh, yes.
I played in Great Falls at the Beacon Ice House. And the next night, Ward Davis, I think, was playing there. So it's a pretty cool venue. Then I went down to Lakeside on Hauser, which was in Helena. And then we went down to Yellowstone, and Yellowstone was actually opened up for the first time after all the flooding. So I kind of did this little run, got down to Yellowstone and came home, was gone for 2 weeks. I've almost got the same identical tour planned for September, and Cleet Bradley is coming with me. So it'll be both.
Wow, that's amazing. I love Montana. We used to we had a lodge there, but I've been hunting in Montana. Can't even think of the name of the little town it was in. Little middle of nowhere, close to the Canadian border. Everybody in Montana is so nice. Yeah, and I met some awesome musicians there.
Oh yeah, well I'll tell you something. I love Texas itself, but one of the most supportive place I've ever been for music in my entire life is Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. That whole area, we've sold. I've sold out 500 seat rooms with Cleet. where people came specifically just to see us, and it's like they're starving for
Yes.
for good music. And
Well, yeah. And I noticed where another one of the friends, a good friend of ours, Nate Burnham, just came from up in that area. So I see so many people headed up that way, and that's awesome. I mean,
well, he was there. He was there. We tried to cross paths. Nate's actually a friend of mine too.
oh God, he's the best.
He's awesome. We tried to cross paths, and I set him up with a couple radio stations so he could go, because he was in town, but I didn't know if he knew him, and because I'd been there so much, he got to go do a couple radio spots and stuff like that, which is cool. We've stayed in contact since he's been here in the DFW area. I kind of met him at the Mule Barn, and we've kind of hung out and talked and kind of helped each other since then.
Oh, Nate he is just like an adopted brother, and he's amazing. He's amazing. I just love your energy.
Well, thank you.
I was kind of dragging around a little bit today, but now I'm just all like perked up after this visit.
Well,
it's just amazing.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
Yes. So anything else we need to cover before we wrap it up?
Man, anything else you want to? We've just been rocking along. I'm so appreciative of everything that you guys are doing. I hadn't heard of y'all before, and I don't remember how I connected with your podcast a few months ago. It's probably been 3 or 4 months ago. And I am just, first off, I'm beside myself happy watching what you guys do to share the music of a lot of different people. I'm extremely appreciative. I think that, there's not enough people doing what you guys are doing. But I also, man, I'm appreciative that you're doing mine. And I love the fact that you guys are doing things. And I, of course, on the front of this call, we talked about helping artists and helping people succeed. You guys are instrumental, and I can't thank you enough for the stuff that y'all are doing. And I know if I feel that way, so does everybody else. So thank you.
That means so much, because my hands were tied when I was in radio, and I would fight for Texas music, and I would win. Because it is what it is, and it's great. And that's who's playing our main stages. That's who's at our fairs and our festivals. Sure. We're a regional radio station. And then moving to this podcast, this has been such a joy, because getting to see the new talents as well as the veteran talents, and to see how things have just cultivated and grown so much. And then meeting you, and it just continues and it continues. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. But there's a lot of excitement, and there's a lot of really, really talented, unfound people.
Yes. Yes.
And I'll tell you this, and I'm going to share that this is from my heart. Part of the reason why we do some of the side work that I do is because I know and I don't like to use the word starving artists, because they're not starving, but they financially, some of the stuff in this industry, there's a lot of vultures that want a lot of money to do a lot of things that's useless. And with the world becoming about content and being able to do things, it's nice to know that, why I do it is to help people have an affordable way to expose their music and have people find them. And then there's stuff like what you guys are doing that allow that's virtually cost-free, and sharing that message. And I think we're a lot stronger together.
Yes.
As musicians and as a community than we are going at each other. And I say, sometimes I think that we all look at each other. We want people to be more successful, but not more successful than us. Maybe kind of the way that, and I think that's culture has changed a little bit over the last couple of years with stuff like what you guys are doing. So yeah, it's a thrill. It's a thrill to watch everybody kind of grow and kind of, after doing this for such a long period of time, to watch from the seat that I'm in is pretty cool too.
Yes, so exciting. Such good stuff here that we've had on the visit. So one last question, it's coming before I let you go. If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
Oh my God.
Sorry, it's a Miss Helen thing.
I holy smokes, dude. That is the funniest question ever. Wow. I've never thought about that before. So give me 2 seconds to digest that.
No worries.
I would be a maple bourbon old fashioned.
Whoa, that sounds like a good deer camp drink there.
I'm seasoned by experience, flavored by experience, goes down easy, and man, is really, 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 really nice for specific tastes.
Thank you. That's the best so far. Thank you so much, Dusty Moats, for joining us.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for having me. Look forward to talking.
And with a heavy tongue, she knew where I was from. As she left, I dared to say, well, you can go